sounds so genuine, it sounds so sexy, it just sounds so amazing.
The importance of feminism is that it was established to fight against a lot of sexist rules and laws that were placed in society.
I'm not here to fight. I'm here to ask.
I'm here to educate. I'm in a traditional relationship because it's by choice. I choose that lifestyle.
Okay.
But there are women who are in those relationships and they were forced to be. They were married young and they are still forced to acknowledge the role that they play.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that they want to, because you can talk about things like the Taliban, women in the Middle East. A lot of them are forced to live the lifestyle that they live.
Would you say that the woman is more of a liability to a company, to an employer? Especially a young woman who can fall pregnant. Is that what you're
It's a
saying?
hard liability.
Yeah, yes, no? Yes?
But
Yes, no?
Yes, no?
yes,
What is your man better than you at?
Oh, paying for things.
society in general doesn't care about what the man is feeling. Your feelings are not, they're not really catered for. It's all about, bro, can you bring bread to the table or not? If not, get out of here.
The value thing about if a man doesn't have money, that's a lie. There's a teacher, there's a nurse somewhere in the township who's willing to take in a male, an unemployed man just because she needs to have a man. That's what society tells her. She's been indoctrinated.
But why
to
must she
believe.
be a lady in the township?
Because
You see
no,
the
like,
level?
no.
Started off with just another ordinary life, and you came along, you came into my life, turned into an extraordinary life. Delight side of life. Delight side.
Welcome to D-Light Side of Life. I go by the name of D-Light. I'm your host, and yeah, this is my platform. Today we're talking about feminism and such, and if there's even an opposite, just the whole gender war, of which I'll refer to it as.
Monna le mosadi, they are equal. Because right now, o kgona ho etsa go bereka kana keng mmereko wa banna garafo go fitlha hae o itse keng ka mo ba expecta gore wa peye mara motho ena o tlhotse the whole day a ntse nje a hwemetse. So this thing ya gore mosadi tshwantse o itse keng a obamele melao yebo baba ao no ha di sa bereka dilo tseo.
Umfazi usezantsi kwendoda. Sikhula sisazi into yoba umfazi ungowasetyhini ohlala ekhaya ofanele kukunakekela izinto zekhaya ezize ziprovayidwe yindoda. Kodwa ke ngokokuhamba kwamaxesha izinto ziye zatshintsha ngoba abafazi akunyanzelekanga bahlale ekhaya ngoku nabo bayasebenza. So kodwa ngokokwam ingathethi ukuthi loo nto leyo amadoda nabafazi bafanele uba bayalingana.
Maybe because I was raised by a single mother, so I've seen whereby a woman comes all out, and that changed my perspective, to be honest, because it's like more, like historically, so believing that belief, we believe that women aren't capable of doing things, and they've proven to us many times that no, man, they can do more than we think. Yeah, but I disagree with it when it comes to them not understanding the power they're given or the power they have.
Let me introduce you guys to my guests. Welcome, guys. Hi. Hi, Boiti to my left. How are you, Boiti?
I'm good. How are you, Delight?
I'm good. Do I refer to you as just Boiti? Is that good enough?
For now, yes.
For now. Okay. So you are a feminist?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Nice to meet you, Boiti. We'll get into that just now. Okay. Next to her is Kensani. Is that? How are you, my brother Kensani?
I'm good, my man. How you doing?
I'm good. You told me you have a new name. What's your new name?
It's Kenny Wrights.
So this is Kenny Wrights.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try and remember that. Kenny Wrights. We're joined by Kenny Wrights and Boiti today. We're going to discuss a very serious issue, guys. Topic, feminism. So I think naturally, let's start with the woman who represents this thing.
Ladies first.
What is feminism? Can you define what it is for a layman?
So
and what the importance of it is? Yeah.
Okay, so feminism is the belief in the political, economical, and social equality of the sexes. And the importance of feminism is that it was established to fight against a lot of sexist rules and laws that were placed in society. Child marriages, rape was legalized, women not being able to work, and such, So yeah, I thoroughly believe in the movement, and I still feel like there's a lot of work to be done.
There's a lot of problems it solves.
Yes.
Okay. Sir, next to her, how do you feel about what she just mentioned and the importance of this feminist thing? What's your views on that?
Hey.
Do you know feminism? Do you know what it is? Do you know that definition?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you feel about that? And yeah.
So the interesting thing about feminism, right, is I love the sentiment. It sounds very like even when Boiti read when she said the definition, it sounds so genuine, it sounds so sexy, it just sounds so amazing on paper, right? But
Yeah.
it's like there are certain things that I'm thinking to, like, once we start, and I'm sure we're gonna get into it deeper, but there are just certain things about it that I don't understand. And before we go any further, I want to say to my sister,
All right.
I'm not here to fight. I'm here to ask.
I'm here to educate.
Okay. May I ask?
And I'm teachable.
Okay.
May I ask why you felt the need to say that to the sister next to you? Are you assuming are you usually met with fights and a lot of
1,000%.
Huh?
1,000%, yes.
Okay. Is that usually a feminist thing that occurs? Do you think that's a part of the movement or?
So for me, I've encountered two types of feminists.
Sure.
Some are found to be, I want to be as respectful yet truthful as possible.
Truthfully.
So some are found to be a bit more unreasonable in their approach, a bit unrealistic.
Yeah.
But some I find that the sentiment is a lot more genuine, and it's a lot more, you can see where this person is coming from, and it's modernized, the modernized way of thinking, it's progressive.
So there's parts of feminism that you agree on with? is what you're saying.
1,000%.
Okay,
Then
so-
naturally
So which
that I
parts
don't.
would you say are non-progressive, are like unrealistic? Those things, the issues.
We can never be
Just an example, just one example, yeah.
being equal in a relationship.
That doesn't exist.
That can't happen.
But
Okay,
how
let
does
me-
that, can
yeah,
I ask,
wait,
how does
yeah.
that fit into the definition of feminism? Because we mentioned economics, we mentioned politics, we mentioned society as a whole. So
And that's why I've said I've personally I've come across two different types of feminists.
so is this where people,
Some want to implement that in relationships, which I feel is unrealistic. But then when it comes to the societal part, the more societal part of things, the more corporate side of things, the more economic side of things, I find that from that side, there are parts of it that I agree with, but then there are parts of it that I feel I still need to learn from.
Okay.
Okay.
So can I meet you with this question instead? So, like you mentioned, bits and parts of it are worthwhile or do work. Then, what would your solution be instead of feminism for those inequalities you would say women have, or all those things that they fight? What would the solution be for you? Like, how would you rephrase it or reframe it? What should women do instead of being feminists?
No, I don't think women should not be feminists. I just feel that it needs to be more well defined. Women need to understand what it actually means, because a lot of the times what I've come across is a lot of women speak about wanting equality, but a lot of the times I've come to realize that they don't realize what comes with that equality.
Okay.
So they'll want the equality when a lot of the times when it benefits them, but do they understand the sort of the responsibility that comes with it? You know, a good example would be, I forgot this lady's name. This lady once became like, she changed herself, almost like she disguised herself to become a man, and she walked into a man's,
Like drag.
like just sort of, she just kind of changed herself. Like you could see that.
Or like her body parts, not her clothing.
No, her clothing.
Or like drag.
Yeah. So, but you couldn't really. At first glance, you think this is a man.
Okay, cool. I
type
get you.
thing,
Yeah.
Right. But and then I think about 2-3 weeks in the journey, she was literally crying out of her mind because she started realizing certain things that men have to go through.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So that's the thing about feminism that I feel sometimes that women don't understand. Like certain things or certain, I'll say perks from their perspective. It comes with a certain level of responsibility.
So some things that look like they're amazing to have are not really that amazing. It's hard to be a man, is what you say.
1000%.
Can I ask, what are these perks you speak of?
The perks that you guys are fighting for.
Yeah, like give an example of
Yes.
like she's saying, what are
Please
they? What
elaborate
could you
that for
name?
me.
Just one example.
Okay,
What
so-
women want that men seem to have.
Okay, so from the top of my head, I'll speak on wanting. So I'll touch on the relationship side of things. Wanting us to be equals within the confines of a relationship and the confines of a house, and it's like now if we use your metrics, by your metrics, if now someone comes in
Yeah.
and is breaking in the house and you're my wife, who's going to be expected to check what's going on?
Whoever's closest to the gun.
Oh, you are very firm. Okay, so so let me come to Boiti with that same question.
Please.
So, in regards to that, let's speak about the obvious one, the obvious topic, gender roles. Do you think that should exist in any capacity, or it shouldn't exist at all? Like what you said, is it all about who's closest to the gun and not necessarily the most capable? And are you also saying that no one is more capable? Are we all capable of the exact same things as men and women?
Good question.
Hi.
I'm kidding.
So,
Problem.
firstly, I think that when it comes to gender roles, that really is very subjective. It all depends on you and your partner and what kind of relationship dynamic you have. Because obviously, in line with gender roles, for instance, there are women who choose to be housewives.
Okay.
And we can't expect that kind of household not to have gender roles. Obviously, the mother is home with the kids most of the time. Even if the dad is helping out with cleaning or with other things, you can still say to some extent there are gender roles that are implemented in the household. So I believe that's not something that's a law that can be placed by government that like, now guys, because of feminism, gender roles are abolished. No, it's not realistic. But when it comes to the intruder, really, to the best of my ability, because what if I'm home alone? What if my husband is gone for the weekend and they break in? I can't look to the husband who's not in the house to act
You
on
should
that.
be equipped, huh?
Exactly. I should also equip myself to a certain degree to be able to handle something because it's a break-in. The threat is still far. There's still a distance. If I can close that distance with something like, say, a gun, it's possible. It's not necessarily a matter of physical ability or, who's stronger in that sense.
Okay. Do you think, okay, one more thing before I bring in Kensan.
Yes.
Can we flip that around as well in regards to capability that if the wife is not around, yes, the husband will be there to care for the children, but he shouldn't be the main carer. Is that a fair analogy? When it comes to the opposite of that woman would be the preferred option of, when it comes to childcare, let the woman, because I mean, it does come from that child itself.
Not necessarily. There are households with stay-at-home dads and the
So you
woman
don't
is the
think one would be more capable than the other?
No, not
Okay.
necessarily. Because even without saying stay-at-home dads, there are children that were raised in a household with a single father where there was no mother present, and they still, to the best of their abilities, did what they could to raise a child.
Is that the best option?
Is that the best option? If it's the only option,
Okay.
it's just like a single mother household. It's not the best option, but if it's the only option, what else? What choice do they have but to actually raise a child?
I hear you. Kenzane, come in there, man.
So for me, I want us to go back to because I don't want us to go away from the original.
You brought us here to this topic. I want you to follow up after that.
Yeah, that's what I'm
we'll
saying.
go back to the other stuff after. Just follow in with that, with what you just spoke about.
Yeah,
when it
that's-
comes to let's go back to that example she mentioned
Capabilities, right?
with the gun. Is that understandable what she's saying? That
No.
it's about who's closest to the door? Because that's a scenario that you brought up.
No.
Yeah?
Again, it's one of those things that sound very sexy and like very fairy tale to me.
So can you define the sexy thing you're referring to? I just need
It's
to understand it, 'cause you've
things
been-
that sound good to say on paper,
Not
but it's not
practical.
practical.
Okay, can I ask if you're an artist, right?
Yeah.
If you are gigging in Cape Town and your woman is left in the house alone for a week and an intruder comes in, should
But
she
that-
call you crying, call the cops?
But what I'm saying is that wasn't the scenario. The scenario was if me and you are in the same house and an intruder comes in, who is expected to play the role of the protector?
So if she's closest to the door, she should still shout out your name, who's the furthest, to come closer to the door in front of her and protect her. Is that what you're
Look,
saying? No?
as the man, it is my role and my responsibility to take care of my family and to make sure that my family is safe.
Okay.
It's not her responsibility, it's mine.
Okay. Boiti, do you think that men and women should have all of the same rights?
All of the same rights.
Like it should be, like there's no specific.
In terms of legislation, yes, I believe that all humans should have the exact same rights.
Okay. What's your view on that?
No, that one.
Okay. So
You see that's where
So let's go into the workplace. Like legislation works well in spaces like that.
this is an interesting one.
Are you okay with being led by a woman in a workplace?
Yes.
It took a while.
It did.
Yes, and I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why it took a while. So I've been in situations where I was led by a female. And just before I even get into this story, I just want to say I come from great female leaders, by the way.
Disclaimer.
Right? Disclaimer. But obviously they had points where naturally as human beings they fell off.
Oh, okay.
So in this situation, I was one of the head coordinators at work for something. It was for something, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why it's not that I was necessarily like qualified to be the head of this thing.
Yeah.
I was just dominant when it came to my skill of selling. I was just more superior and like I was more dominant when it came to sales.
Yeah.
Right. So hence they trusted me with the product, with the project, right? So my manager at the time comes to me. Now she's starting to feel like she's starting to be like under pressure at the time, and presumably from the higher ups, right? And then what she did was she came down and she started shouting at me regarding the, some of the calls I had to make on that day.
Okay.
Right. So there was a miscommunication between her and my immediate supervisor, right?
Cool.
What she did was she started then shouting at me in front of everyone and fired me from the project in front of everyone. So everyone in the workplace can see that, this just happened to this guy, right? But no, fine. It's in the workplace. You obviously have to be a professional, whatever the case might be. So she went, and then after that, she was going into like a meeting where there was like all the managers are there, the HODs are there. So she went in then, first thing she said, oh, by the way, I just fired Kensani from this because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that happened.
So you say she wasn't very professional.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Right? So, and when that happened, my other manager, the manager above her, who's also a female, and the HOD is male. And by the way, I'd like to also add, the male, the HOD, wasn't the biggest fan of me. But because he was objective and he understood, he saw the numbers I was putting on the board. He understood that you can't fire Kensani. He's the best guy for this job.
Okay, cool.
And then they had to tell her that, no, you're not gonna fire him.
So let's get to the crux of it. So you're saying, did she react more in a way that women are more likely to act, and that's why you can't be led by women? Or are you saying men can't react that way? Or like, because remember the question is, can you be led by a woman? So is it that specific woman, is it women overall that you're saying that's the outcome?
I don't feel that would have happened if I was at that particular moment.
Yeah.
I do not believe that a male would have done that to me because I've been in another similar situation where a manager was unhappy with me And instead of speaking to me in that manner in front of everybody else, he called me to his office and me and him went at it.
Okay, cool.
You get what I'm saying?
I see.
So, but again, I come from great leaders. But that was in terms of my manager at the time. That's where she fell off.
Do you have more examples of a woman leading you?
This one is a bit.
Do you have more
controversial.
examples of the woman? Just say yes or no. Do you have more than one example of a
Yes.
woman leading you?
Yes.
Okay. And they were all bad.
They were all bad.
Okay. Boiti, views on that in regards to how it would have been different if there was a man in that position. She reacted in what would be a feminine way or a woman way. I don't know what word to use, but yeah. Yeah, please. You look very
I want to ask,
concerned.
how did the other manager above her, that was a woman, react?
She was more level-headed, she was more understanding, and she was more detached from the moment emotionally. She could see, she had she had the longer vision. And also, but contextually speaking, she is obviously way more experienced as a manager in that regard.
Okay, then can I ask, why are those not the qualities that you associate with a female leader in the corporate space? Why do you associate why is it that when you're asked about being led by a woman, you immediately think of the negative experience as opposed to the more logical and level-headed manager that you had?
Because the most from my perspective, the most traumatizing and the most hurtful experience came from a woman. Yes.
Very personal to me.
Okay. So yes, that is personal to you, but you also have people who have negative experiences with men. How does that work? Does one negate the other?
My worst boss was a man. So was that something? I've never been treated badly but maybe I also treat women in a certain way so that it gives me a certain outcome. And sometimes men are more competitive. But from my experience in many ways, women appreciate kindness and respect and stuff. Men, even if you are that way, if they see a threat, they could. So I don't know, maybe it's that, maybe it's your behavior
That's why. So
that triggered that.
Again, for me at the time, this is what I experienced. So immediately when you ask the question,
Yeah.
the obvious answer is yes.
Okay.
I do not mind being led by a woman because I've been, again, I
I
was
see what
molded
you're saying.
by
But
a
you
lot
don't
of the.
prefer, you're saying.
But the one worst experience was by a lady. You get what I'm saying? And hence, that's where the hesitation.
In the workspace, are men and
Yeah.
women capable of the same thing?
No.
Okay, so you don't believe in equality in that regard?
Yes.
Not in the workspace, no?
No, I don't mind it in the workspace.
Because you said that men and women should have all the same rights. So let's say now in the workspace, a woman goes there with the knowledge that I have the same rights as that man. So she's going to try and apply for the same position and all sorts of things.
I get where you're trying to go with it. And I'm saying that
Yeah.
it can work, but it's going to have its hurdles. And here are the hurdles. Okay. And this one is very controversial. So I'm going to try my best to be my sister. Please.
Yeah, just say it, man.
Speak.
No time
Nobody's
for
getting
thinking.
offended.
So, okay. So if right now, if I am like a CEO, right? And I have to choose between a lady versus a man.
Yeah.
Let's say let's say in this particular case, they are neck on neck. In terms of work experience, in terms of how good they are, the numbers, they bring the similar type of numbers, whatever the case might be. And let's say Boiti in the situation is, say, maybe 23. She doesn't have a family yet. Whereas Kensani in the situation, he's like, say, 25.
No, even the odds make them exactly the same in every other aspect except for the gender.
Okay, both 23, both don't have families. Nah? I'm more likely to choose the man in that situation.
Why?
Because you have to understand that 23-year-old who's a lady is still going to go through the blessing of being pregnant and starting a family and how will she? We don't know yet how she will deal with that, and also that puts me in a position where I now have to I have to have that at the back of my mind that at some point you won't be here for 4 to 6 months.
So it's-
but whereas with a man, I know that the paternity on the paternity side, he'll take like maybe a month off paternity leave.
But
And
he's
then-
not the pregnant one, so it's not
It's
as
not-
heavy on him.
it's not as-
So would
and-
you say that the woman is more of a liability to a company, to an employer? Especially a young woman who can fall pregnant. Is that what you're saying?
Liability.
Eh, yes, no? Yes?
But
Yes, no?
Yes, no.
yes.
Okay, cool.
Can I add something
Yeah,
to
you
that?
can go ahead,
It's actually, I expected his answer to Ella. So, I find legislation in the workplace to be quite patriarchal. But what he's saying is actually the opposite, because in corporate, they actually do prefer a young single woman as opposed to a woman who's married and has kids. And in terms of men, they prefer men who already have families because those men are not
Reliability,
really.
yeah.
They're very reliable. They know that those men have a household to maintain. They have to. They're most likely going to keep that job for a long time and elevate within that corporate space. And a young woman who is single as well is also the same. She's very driven. She's still trying to build her career, and she's going to be very, very dedicated to the role.
True.
So your answer was very
You
confusing.
disagree, but not with the...
Yeah,
it was
he
the wrong
disagreed,
yes.
but his answer's not really in line
So-
with the legislation. So I'm quite
So
curious.
here's a question. Is life easier or harder for a woman compared to men?
I would say it's harder.
It's harder for a woman.
Yes.
Okay. Why is it harder for you?
So
Let's speak maybe more personal experience. Yeah.
personal
Or you
experience.
don't have to be personal about it, but
Yeah,
speak about
'cause,
yourself.
my
how you've
feminism
seen
is not.
challenges and-
Yeah, my feminism is not personal per se.
Okay,
Because
cool.
even if I am blessed enough to live a life
Yeah.
that isolates me from everything that other women
okay.
experience, I still empathize with other women.
Okay, I see.
So it's
So it's
about
not every
fighting for women's
woman-
rights. Exactly.
Okay.
No one is free until we're all free.
All
So
right, I see.
I would say that it's harder for women because firstly, legislature is against you in the workspace, in healthcare. In healthcare already, the laws that are in healthcare and even the way that doctors are trained to conduct themselves.
Yeah.
As a woman, I could be 23, as you said, and I could go to a gynae and I've decided in my head that, listen, I don't want kids. I'm going there. I want to get a hysterectomy. I don't want to have kids at all. And the gynae will tell you, maybe, you should come back after a few years, see what your husband has to say about that. You don't have autonomy over your own body. I mean, we're blessed enough to be living in South Africa because our constitution actually protects things like abortion and all of that. But in a lot of other countries, women don't have that autonomy over their bodies. In the corporate space, we are underpaid for the exact same roles that we do as men. But then we work the exact same amount of hours, exact same position, but we're underpaid. In society, you have men who feel entitled to your body. You're objectified, you are raped, you are a victim of violence at almost every turn. So I believe that in that sense, I would say that life is harder for women. And those are just a few of many examples.
Okay. Kenzane, is life harder for a woman or harder for men?
It's harder for men.
Wow, your life is hard. How is it hard? my friend? Tell me.
Okay. How can I put this? So there are two different ways when it comes to male and female. The two main differences I see is when you are female, you're already born with your value, right?
Okay.
So because you're already, as you're born with your value, it almost kind of, one would argue, the value decreases over time because you start to age, and the more you age, the less you become, the less men will want you.
So you mean value to men?
Yes,
okay,
value to men.
specifically. Okay, cool.
Yes. So let me say to society. Can I say that?
Okay, I'm just,
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
way
If
you
you're
want
going to
say,
say
I'll
to
just
society, please back
clarify.
it up with some actual factual, statements, not just,
Okay, maybe you're a lesbian and you like women.
okay, how does that decrease your value to society?
No. What
Oh,
I'm saying.
she's trying to say that maybe it could also affect someone in a lesbian situation. Is what he's
Yes,
saying.
that's
It's
what I'm
not
saying.
just for specific. You don't want to be specific
But
to
then
just
this is still in the
men
sense
being
of-
attracted to you. You're saying even a lesbian can find
Yes.
an
Okay,
older
wait.
woman less attractive. Yeah.
Can I then rephrase my question? What exactly is value in this context? Are we talking about romantically? Like that's the value that we're talking about.
Yes.
So
I think
women.
you'll get. Let
Like,
him get
let
to
me-
that. Let him get to.
let me-
Okay,
let
sorry.
him
I'm just-
contextualize the
I
whole.
was trying
Yeah.
to
I
understand.
think he's
that
trying to tell us
value.
why he's struggling as a man. so, let's hear the woman description and then you
Yeah,
go
yeah.
to the reason why you are
Yes.
struggling. Cool.
So as a woman,
Yeah.
you're already born with a high sense of value according to society. You already bagged a lot in a sense of like everyone. You There's always a sense of this thing that, oh no, she's a woman. You get what I'm saying. But when it comes to men,
Yeah.
a man's value in terms of especially within society, your value is measured by what you can bring to the table. So men have to build their value.
Yeah,
That's why men's value, according to society, will increase over time, rather than and again, you have to build the value. Your value has to mature according
Yeah.
to society. When it comes to a lot of I'll go into like even the suicidal stats. Men are most likely to commit when it comes to suicidal attempts because we believe in seeing something through. So a lot of men, once they like, if like a lot of men, especially if they're depressed, they'll go through the suicidal attempt. A lot of men are killed in what you call in
combat.
wars.
Okay.
In wars, in combat,
Yeah.
a lot of so and also society in general doesn't care about what the man is feeling. Within society, your feelings are not they're not really catered for. It's all about, bro, can you bring bread to the table or not? If not, get out of here.
Are men in that position because of men or because of women?
Both.
Women cause men to go to war.
Yes.
Boiti, can you come in there?
Yes.
Yeah, maybe.
I would love to discuss the men's mental health further. I really want to, but first I want to get back to
Touch on everything. Yeah.
the value thing about if a man doesn't have money. That's a lie. There's a teacher, there's a nurse somewhere in the township who's willing to take in a male, an unemployed man just because she needs to have a man. That's what society tells her. She's been indoctrinated.
But why
to
must she
believe.
be a lady in the township?
Because
You see the level?
no, usually
I have an option, but it's in the township.
it's a stereotype. Though it's a stereotype, you know.
So what's the truth, though? Like, what? How many
really
options does
happens.
a man without
guys
money
in the
have?
hood, like you can chill with guys in the hood, and they'll tell you like,
Yeah.
hey, a guy who has no prospects in life knows that he's going to end up married to some teacher or some nurse, and he's going to be driving her car around,
Yeah.
having like 3 or 4 other families on the side.
Is that the norm? Is that the norm?
It
I think
really
we're speaking
it does.
in general.
It-
of
it's-
men and
it
women, huh?
happens in the township. So I was just like, that was something. It was a bit of a joke, but there's
I
some
see, I
truth
see.
to it. And I want to say that even when a man doesn't have those prospects or those things going for him, there's still always someone that's willing to be with him just for the mere fact that he's a man. And that's what society has taught us, that as a woman, if you don't have a man, if you're not married by this age, if you don't have kids by this age, so there's always someone.
Before you come in, can I just go into that?
Yes.
So when yeah, you guys
I'll let
shaking.
you have this one, brag.
So when it comes into the woman stuff that he was mentioning, do you agree at all with the whole value thing of when your value kicks in from when they're born with value and so on? What's your view on that specific statement?
I think it
compared
depends
to
on
men?
how you define value, because if value in that sense is tied to your romantic prospects, then sure, obviously you're going to think that a woman that's 34 is very close to the maternal age effect kicking in, so she's probably not a good prospect for marriage or whatever. That's at least what science and society tells us. But value is very, very it's something that's very broad. So you can't tie someone's value to just to romantic relationships. You have to, there's other things to consider. What if I contribute? What if I am asexual? I will never have any romantic prospects because I do not wish to have any, but I still contribute to society in
But
other
let's
ways.
speak now in the general term, like not the odd.
Yeah.
It's not
as a
odd,
belief.
but
No,
then
I
okay,
mean, like, just
Sharp,
for-
let's say
'cause
okay, let's say
again,
I'm not
something more that you can relate to more.
okay, let's say I'm not asexual. Let's say I just happen to be unlucky in love and I don't get married, but I still contribute to society in other ways. Does that mean then that I am not a valued member of society?
I think it just means, yeah, say.
So let me ask you this question then. If you have a son right now, né, and the son comes to you and says, "Mom, I'm caught between two women. One is a lady who has 3 kids. She's a single mother, and is say 7 years older than him, and the other one will be one of his age who doesn't have kids.
What age is that?
Let's say your son is 23.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
then he's too young. That's not even even if you reverse the roles, I'd still believe that that girl, if it was a daughter who was 23 and is telling me about a man that's 7 years older than her, I'd still feel like he's too old for her.
Okay. Do you understand that maybe in that position, because of her requirements as a woman and the value, like he says, that men are, and what makes a man valuable is the fact that when he is 7 years older and he's not the guy who's in varsity with me, he can afford the life that I say I want. Not just, because that's, especially I would say even as a man myself, that's the perception that, okay, if I do acquire certain things and then therefore I'm more valuable. And usually that accumulates over time. Yeah, so.
Well, can I say that in terms of what you said now, one of the things that is tied to a woman's value, according to society, is her ability to reproduce, her fertility. So, I mean, one could argue that the lady with 3 kids is fertile.
Okay, but wait. Let's bring it to my answer the question.
Yeah,
I must answer the question.
Yeah, your son tells you, Hore, between the mother who has 3 kids and is 7 years older than him, versus
Maybe if you put the ages closer, like because my main problem is the age.
I
No,
can't.
my main problem is the age.
just give us something more comfortable.
Yes, like make them the same age rather, but then
No, but
Okay,
I
because
think,
the age thing.
no problem. Okay,
Okay,
sure,
the
no
age is
problem.
fine. Okay.
No problem. Both 23. One has 3 kids. The other one doesn't have kids at all. So it is obviously saying, or obviously I'll be starting from scratch with this one. We'll both have our first,
Okay.
and then with this one, it'll just be her fourth.
My first half.
It'll be
And let's say I'll even raise the stakes for you. She has 3 kids, 2 different baby daddies.
Okay. So, yeah.
wait, no.
Ah,
this is
so
a
you-
very-
you
you
ask-
see how you
Wait. So you're asking her to choose the best option for a child, right?
Yes.
Which one would you choose genuinely? Like we asked him earlier, just yes or no type of question.
Okay,
Just,
but I wouldn't choose.
no, in
Because I
your
don't
mind. Okay,
believe-
let's
In
put it
your
this way.
mind,
Forget your
what's more ideal
No,
for you
let's
as
do
a
it this way,
parent?
Kenzani. She doesn't want
Yes.
to choose. When you hear your child giving you these 2 options, you know what you prefer for your child, even when it comes to career. Your child tells you, I want to be a stripper, I want to be this. You know what you prefer. So when it comes to this, what would you, without telling your child, just in your mind, like,
But can I say
I
this?
wish he could go this way. What would that be?
No,
Yeah.
but can I say this? You said that I should. Wait. You said that I shouldn't make the question some extreme thing. I should make it a bit in general.
But
it
it's
should
something
be
you could relate to.
generalized.
Like I'm saying something that you can relate to, meaning that this could be an experience that you're gonna experience.
What's not
But this
the
is not
asexual one
everybody's
wasn't
reality. This is not
asexual one wasn't personal to you.
So it's a bit the neck.
This is you being a parent. You know?
No, what's the neck in Onyaga? Can Onyaga go a question?
No, you want me to answer the question
Okay.
by saying
Answer the
no.
question.
You want me
Wait,
to answer the question. Wait, can I
You'd
just?
rather not answer that question.
Yeah, I'd rather not because he wants me
Let's
to answer
move
the
along. It's
question
fine, it's fine.
in a way that implies that the girl without kids is in any way
Okay.
better than the other lady, and it's like.
What's the ideal relationship for you between a man and a woman? Like when you go to a certain home, is there a specific way that men and women should conduct themselves? And what is that? How does that look?
Can you repeat the question?
The question is for Boiti.
Yeah, go ahead. I just want to understand.
Yes, but
Yeah.
it's weird that you requested. Like, as long as she had the question.
Okay, I'm gonna.
I'll bring it to you. Don't worry.
Okay,
You'll hear
no
the same
problem.
question.
Okay, no,
Bring
I'm
the
going,
answer.
I'm going to answer the question generally, then I'm going to answer it personally, right?
No. Yeah. You can do
Let
both.
her answer
It's fine.
both. As long as she
Yes.
answers both.
No, because like
But
I
I
said,
must get you a chair so you can just.
Because he wants to be
Let's go.
no,
Bashir.
I want to answer both because earlier I did say that I feel like, when it comes to people's relationships, they should do what they feel is best for them.
Okay, I get you. So
Right,
that's the general one.
Yes.
Okay,
So
cool.
when they are conducting themselves in their household, whether they want to go 50-50, whether they want to do this, the man stays at home, whatever. It's really up to, it's between two
Individualistic.
people. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
It's for them to decide. Me, personally, my ideal relationship is a more traditional relationship. I
is
prefer a
traditional
traditional
relationship?
marriage where there's firstly, it's a nuclear family.
Yeah.
So mother, father, both present.
Married
And
and
I want, the father must be the
leader.
leader of the family. Yes. I want to say patriarch, but then it's going to be
So your house is
aligned
patriarch.
to patriarchy, and then it's going to be negated. So I don't want to say that. But then a household.
I'm therapy.
I'm answering not by you, not by you.
Exactly.
Your opinion is not
We'll
by
get
you.
there, bro.
Exactly.
So
But
may I
yes,
ask? I hear you. So,
but also
yeah?
that's tied to the fact that I'm Christian, so I believe in that kind of household. Yes, where
because that goes into your beliefs.
Yes.
So okay, so that's why. Besides Christianity, you wouldn't. So is it the? I don't want to use the fear of God, but a lot of it is it because of God's will and hey, this is how it should be. Therefore, or is it also because it makes perfect sense to you
there are
without God
Christian
being in the
families,
picture?
but then also
Yeah?
notice how I still haven't even gone into finances or anything like that. It was just in terms of like
Yeah, in regards to what you told me, is there
because
any? Is it
It's not
just
because-
specifically for Christianity or in your
No.
capacity? Do you also feel like this makes
Like, is
I
this
think
how you
in
feel
my personal
personally?
capacity, but also I won't say it's the fear of God, but also because
yeah?
it was the belief that I was raised with, but it also is the belief that makes the most sense for me.
Okay.
Like, it's what works for me.
So
So I just,
So
'cause
would
there
you
are-
understand that a lot of the other parts of what he's fighting for and what feminism is fighting against even in the other spaces relates to what the same God has apparently said should be the way? Because a lot of those, I guess the world is based a lot on the traditional way of being in all aspects, which is a very more religious when we go back in time compared to now where we are less religious.
Well, can I say,
Yeah.
firstly, feminism is about choice. So there are some women who are in those traditional relationships, but it's not by choice.
Okay.
I'm in a traditional relationship because it's by choice. I choose
Oh,
that lifestyle
okay.
and it works for me. And also,
I see.
it is not, I am not subservient in my relationship. I'm not I'm not beneath. We both understand the roles that we play in the household and
Okay.
but it's not about, but there are women who are in those relationships and they were forced to be, they were married young and they are still forced to, forced to acknowledge the role that they play.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that they want to, because you can talk about things like the Taliban, women in the Middle East. A lot of them are forced to live the lifestyle that they live.
They're
And I'm
doing
not,
what they have to, not what they want to.
yes, it's not necessarily what they want. Nobody actually asked them, like, what do you want?
What
Is
do you
this
want?
what you
Okay,
want?
I see.
So it's about choice.
I
And it's
see.
also about not shaming the next woman for her choice, which is why it's also a
see.
common thing, because there's a lot of discourse also among feminists where, there are working feminists who will shame stay-at-home moms and stay-at-home moms
So you're
who
messing
will
up the
shame.
movement,
And it's
right.
like, but guys, this is about choice. Everybody must do
I
what they
see.
choose to do. Yeah.
Would you like to come in there or do
As I believe. As
Okay,
I
go
believe.
in there.
I want to go a bit personal. You spoke about being Christian.
Yes.
And then you spoke about being in a relationship with your mans. But then you spoke about you guys being on the same level. And then you said something that pertained to you not being submissive, but being on the same level.
Not being subservient.
What does that mean?
Subservient isn't like I'm not being treated as beneath, as less than, as as if I am just Jay, the slave that's there to do his bidding. That's being subservient.
Okay, so how do you feel about submission in that regard?
About submission.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually a very interesting topic. I do understand the. How do you define submission firstly
context
before?
are you talking
I'm speaking with regards to I think we're both Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now I'm referring to the word. Regarding being, I'd like to believe that you foresee your relationship going into being
Christian-like.
not
Marriage.
marriage.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
my bad.
I'm okay. It's fair to say that. Yeah. So you do understand that for your marriage to work out, and with regards to the word being the foundation of your marriage, you are going to have to be submissive to him.
And that's why I'm asking.
And you
now.
understand that is what God wants.
Yes, I'm asking you now. What is submission in this context? How do you define submission? Because You know, sometimes people, hey, they think.
So she wants to know
submitting is-
not the word, but the action. She agrees with the
Yes.
word. She wants to know what
do
those
you-
actions
How
are.
do you define submission?
What specifically? Just give examples. Like say something like
He has the final word
on what decisions.
on decisions. Yes.
Okay.
He's the head of the household.
He's the head of the household, but it's not necessarily that he has the final word. And it's, hey, you know, as soon as he knocks his gavel on the wood, then
It doesn't mean when the word speaks on the man having the final word. It doesn't mean that
what does it say about the man having the final word?
It speaks on.
Please quote scripture.
So by final word, you just mean authority. At some point, someone must
Yes.
make the final
Yeah, no,
decision
the
and say,
authority
"This is where we're going." Like
So you are aware of the fact that there are times where he's gonna have to make the decisions that you're not gonna be happy with, that you're not necessarily gonna be the most ecstatic about, but you're gonna have to give in and be submissive because you're his wife.
because he's the leader, I trust him. Because it's not what I wanted, but okay, let's go down this road.
Yes.
Because I will suggest. Are you open to that? That you can
Yes.
suggest other options and give
1000%.
But then he must choose. He must decide which option it will be.
Because you have to understand one thing about God, and I don't want to be too spiritual now, but
All right.
you have to understand when God made Eve, He chose the rib. He made Eve from the rib, and which is very interesting because the rib is a very underrated bone. Without that, you are left to be vulnerable. So that is the role that you play within his life. You are there to, I don't want to say protect, but you are there to support him. You are the rib, you're the neck. Without the neck, the head cannot function. However, what he says as the leader and as the authority within the household goes. Do you understand that?
No, definitely. So I do
Is
believe
that
in
something that
submission.
you're open to?
I do believe in submission, but also you have to remember that when it comes to submission, the man, I guess the Bible said that women must submit to your husband, but
Yes.
men, love your wives as Christ loves the
1000%,
church.
1000%.
So you need to know that this is a man who is actually able to lead the family. You need to be able to trust his leadership in order to be able to submit. And yes, I do.
Okay, so you are aware that sometimes he's gonna make decisions that you're not gonna want.
But she's saying that she can only be submissive to a good leader.
Yes,
That's what
to
she's saying.
someone that
Not
you
just
trust to lead.
because you're a
Exactly.
man.
Not
Are
just
you a
because
leader?
no.
Yeah.
That's what she's saying.
Yeah.
So that's what I say.
The same way, maybe a man shouldn't just lead any woman who wouldn't be willing to be a submissive
1000%,
person. Yes.
1000%. Because a lot of
That's
what
what she's saying,
a lot of men miss also when it comes to that scripture in particular is they forget that the man is supposed to love the wife the same way that Jesus loved the church. You get what I'm saying? But
So one very important issue, I think it's one of those things I highlight. Abortion. Let me go here. Sir, do you believe that you should have a right to have a say over a child that, a woman you've impregnated? Like, a seed that is yours, but within the body that is hers.
my man, that one is so. Do I believe that I have a say?
Yeah, you should have a say, or at all. And let's tie that into child support, and that how that will affect that as well, right? Because if she does have the kid, there's also that we need to.
Yeah, it's such a challenging question because the obvious answer would have to be no. Her body is her body.
No, what's your answer? I think you're very, very.
I'm very
on brand,
political.
trying to just answer. Wena. You don't do ish when you're with the gents. Ish, this question, ish. You know the answer. Let's go. Away.
I believe the man should be given the freedom to speak on what he feels the way forward should be.
Okay.
And especially if he especially pertaining to how he can contribute to the entire situation from a financial point of view.
Okay. I
On
see.
Talanya, and that can play a role in the final decision that she's gonna make.
Whether to keep
is-
it or-
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it really is her body. And in that situation, I could say that, look, I'm ready to take the responsibility. I want to go all the way. And she'll do the abortion behind my back. Again, because it's her body.
So in that position,
So-
in that situation, you as a man are willing to be submissive to her leadership. She will choose the other way. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
You're okay with that? You can be submissive.
No, that
Okay, cool.
1000%.
Boiti, what's your view on
Body
abortion?
autonomy.
Eh?
Body autonomy. Like, as a woman, she should have the right to decide. Because even if I'm pregnant and I say I don't want the baby and he wants the baby.
Yeah.
Even if we say, okay, Sharp, after giving birth, I'm going to give you the baby and I'm going to continue living my best life. So many things could happen during the pregnancy that could alter my life forever.
Okay, I see.
Pregnancy can make you blind. You could die during childbirth. So obviously, I have to be willing to take that risk. It has to be my decision.
Your whole life changes.
True.
Okay, you go with that.
No, that one, Shem.
Okay, we're gonna close off with one last question for the both of you guys. Let's start with the lady. Can you name one thing in which men are better than women in?
One,
Thing in which men are better than women in.
can I give a sarcastic answer?
Give the answer you want to give. Give the answer you want to give.
One thing
Yeah,
that
whatever.
men...
Sarcastic means that you can't find something. That men are better than women in.
That's what I'm trying to think of.
Wow. Did you hear that? It's very hard.
Very, very interesting answer.
Must search the seas and the mountains.
No, like I'm not even being spicy. I'm actually really trying to think.
Okay. So we'll come back to you.
Yeah,
Sir, can you
please.
mention one thing that women are better than men in?
Being nurturing.
Can you mention a second thing? You were on a roll. I thought maybe,
Okay, sure.
I thought maybe you can just show a hurry. It's okay. I don't know.
Being nurturing, and I think women are more intuitive. I've always felt
Intuitive.
that.
Okay,
They're
okay, let's
more
go back to the lady. He named two things that he thinks women are better than. I think personally, based on the conversation, that's some progress from a man willing to give
Is it though?
props
Like
to.
we...
I don't know
not
if you
even-
disagree with that though, but he genuinely, in his capacity, he thinks women do this better than me and women do this better than me. And he says it's because it's a woman. So yeah, what's your one thing? If you have nothing, we'll just end it there.
You're really putting me on the spot. I'm trying to think.
Picking up a brig, I don't know.
Oh,
I'm
sure,
giving
like,
ideas.
what-
Like,
I
You
can
know
at
why?
least think of
I don't
five.
know what you want.
I
You know
can
why?
think of five.
Just one more thing. Just, okay, be generous then, but not
I'm
sarcastic.
trying to be generous. Like I put aside the sarcasm.
Okay.
I'm trying to be generous right now. And
So okay, can I?
Let's put it this way. No. What is your man better than you at?
paying for things.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
guys. Thank you for joining me.
Thank
That
you.
took a while. I appreciate you guys so
You could have
much.
just made it
This
personal
was
from the
fun.
get-go. Like,
You guys had fun though, nah?
Yeah,
We love
yeah.
each other more, nah? Don't hate each other.
no, like there's no
Men and
hate.
women.
I never really. I feel
Yeah.
like we never really got to establish if like he's a misogynist or not.
Yeah,
Do you feel like
maybe it's
when
not.
when you listen to how I reasoned with certain things, do you feel like I'm a misogynist now?
I feel like you're biased against women.
Okay, we'll do that next episode, guys. Thank you. We definitely have more to talk about, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to my guests. I appreciate your presence. This was fun.
Thank you.
This was another episode of D-Light Side of Life. Aware Massacre.
Started off with just another